Hey guys, it's Max Convexity here, episode number 6 of Max and Jax After Dark, or I think it's called Late Night with Max and Jax. I'll have to check the thumbnail. I haven't done it in a few days, but anyway, there's a few things I wanted to talk about tonight, but I didn't have time to write a script, and this format, in my opinion, is perfect for that. So Jax, as per usual, is chewing a bully stick. Every time I get one of these shows on, I bribe him with the bully stick to behave for 20 or 30 minutes so I can get this show done. I'll try not to make this one a long one tonight. Sometimes I just get rambling, but it's not my intention. Um, let's see what all's going on. All right. Okay. I was just going to respond to a few questions. I got a question. How many total shares exist? If the fund keeps on inventing shares, this might get ugly. You follow me? What y'all think regarding this, or am I overthinking it here? No, and it's a fair question. It is a fair question. The Especially if somebody that's been involved with penny stocks before, and in the 90s, I bought plenty of penny stocks, and I've lost plenty of money on penny stocks, and one or two of them I made money on. They're fun, but penny stocks and also like initial public offerings. Those are where they just print shares and then they hire a sales force to go out and sell them, especially like IPOs. The banks try to print as many shares as they can, and then they hope they could sell them all. That's not the way ETFs work. This is an this is ETF has something called a creation and redemption process. I think it's called creation and redemption. But whenever there's more net buyers than net sellers, they have to they do have to make new shares, but it's only because they have more buyers. And the thing is, when they make more shares, the ETF gets more money to invest. So it should be the same difference. There shouldn't be dilution. I made a video saying how come these ETFs didn't pay as much as we thought they would, or as I thought they would. And my conclusion was finally because I didn't factor in dilution, share dilution. But that's not what the ETF did. The ETF did everything right. There's nothing wrong with the ETF. My guess on my spreadsheet did not factor in share dilution. It had nothing to do with the ETF. So the way I made my estimate was not right. So check this out. So let's see. Here's the most egregious error. On IWMY, I was thinking it was 120% because the fund was making this much every day. It is making this much yield or percentage capture, however you want to call it, about a half a point a day. That's a lot. That's really good, but that only tells part of the story because this fund. It only tells part of the story because it doesn't factor in the earnings per share, and that's what really counts. So if you look at my earnings per share column, I have it right here. This is my last month's spreadsheet, and it's not the greatest thing ever. Okay, but look over here. I have earnings per share here. Then I have cumulative earnings per share. Right, it goes all the way back here. See, it starts at 13 cents because that's what they earned the first day. Then the next day they earned 26 cents. The cumulative's 39 cents. But anyway, and it goes on and on and on. Well, by the time that the day was to make the estimate, which was the 26th, on this spreadsheet on the 26th, let's see, let me light up the line, the 26th, I had 96 cents, and they paid $1. So, that's what I should have given you guys for an estimate is 96 cents. And I think I did give that as a low estimate, but then I also gave the higher estimate because I foolishly thought that. So that video I made was more to apologize to you guys. I wasn't trying to, it wasn't a dig at the fund. The fund didn't do anything wrong. I did. It was my estimate did not factor in dilution. The fund just does what it does. More people want shares, they give them shares and they take their money. That's just the way it works. But this isn't like a penny stock or an IPO where they just print as many shares as they can and then hire people to go work in what do they call those? Not a sweatshop, but a boiler room where they just have a bank of phones and they try to get people to talk you into buying their shitty IPO or whatever. No, that's not the way this works. And if I left that impression, I apologize, and it was my fault. I probably should have explained it better. So that's the first thing I wanted to cover. Let's see what else I got. I had a really nice. I had a good. I had a good discussion with the commenter, and let me try to find it. I thought he might be kind of trolling me a little bit, or he's not trolling, but kind of giving me a hard time. I thought maybe this guy's mind was already made up. And plus his screen name is Doge Gamer. So I thought, okay, it's a crypto bro. His mind's already made up. But it didn't turn out to be the case. I think he just wanted to have an intelligent discussion. And I appreciate this. So anyway, his comment was, I don't see these working long term. I'll bet the distributions will be almost nothing 3 years from now, if they are even around. You'll likely be better off just holding SPY, QQQ, and IWM, the underlying long term. Changed my mind. And like I say, that's a great question. And let's see, I'm going to read it from over here. And here's my response. I said, sure, if you're looking at total return, covered call funds, if you're looking at total return, sure, you'll do better with just holding the underlying. Covered call funds have been around for years. And the one thing we know about them is on a total return basis, they usually underperform the underlying. Look at the best covered call fund out right now, in my opinion, JEPQ. And I don't know if it's the best, but let's just say it had the best year. I really think QQQY is the best, but it hasn't been around a year. It's only been around 4 months, so it's too early to tell. But JEPQ is really good too. So, and these are all just my opinions. Anyway, so I said, look at the best fund out right now, JEPQ. It was up 36% this year, and the underlying, which is the NDX, was up 55%. Just like we would expect, the underlying did better on a total return basis. However, JEPQ paid a 1% per month dividend, and the NDX doesn't pay a dividend. But of course, the NDX isn't really a stock, it's just an index. So basically, the underlying is the QQQs, which is, and the QQQs do pay a dividend, but it's less than 1%. I think last time I checked, it was 0.6%. So I said basically nothing. So I said these high yield funds are not growth funds, they're income funds. In a standard portfolio allocation, you might have 70% growth and 30% fixed income. Usually the closer to retirement, you will have more fixed income, but we'll stay with the 70-30 split right now. Where you can use these funds is in that fixed income part of your portfolio. So let's say I have $1 million retirement portfolio and you have $1 million retirement portfolio also. Yours is in QQQ, and mine is 70% QQQ and 30% JEPQ for my, for the fixed income portion. So these aren't truly fixed income, but they're kind of like quasi-fixed income. I'm just trying to make a point. On your $1 million, you were up 55% this year. Congrats, great year. On my portion, I was up 12%, which is 70% of 36%, give or take. Well, no, that's exactly what it is, I think. Okay, which is not bad at all. However, on my 30% fixed income allocation, I am getting a check of around $3,000 a month, because that's 300,000, and so 1% a month is 3,000. That's 36,000 a year. QQQ, or I wrote the wrong thing. I meant to say JEPQ has been paying around 1% monthly, so maybe I could retire a few years earlier than you can. Sure, your portfolio is going to be worth more, but I'm already rich enough, in my opinion. And this isn't really true. I'm illustrating this. This isn't what I have. Anyway, I'm not trying to be the wealthiest guy in the cemetery. I'm more concerned with quality of life. But that is true. That is really the way I feel. And don't forget, it's not like I'm getting zero growth in my portfolio. My portfolio was up 12%. But yes, you're correct. On a total return basis, you will usually come out ahead with the QQQ and not the covered call funds. People that buy these are using them to get income out of their portfolio. They aren't supposed to be for growth. One more thing, let's say the market craters next year and goes down to 55%. So your portfolio is back to even. You were up 55% this year and you're down 55% next year. That'd be a pretty bad year. Let's hope that doesn't happen, but I'm just using this to illustrate a point. So your portfolio is even, and my portfolio is even. I was up 12%, and now I'm down 12%, so So I'm even, but I have $72,000 in my pocket in the same time period. You haven't received much of anything. That 0.6% that's a little bit, but not much. Maybe you have to start driving Uber, and I'm sitting at home watching football. All right, and I'm not trying to be a jerk there. There's nothing wrong with driving Uber. Some of my best friends do it, and I've even thought about it before. But my point is, this having an extra $72,000 could keep a person from having to drive Uber. Maybe the person's wife doesn't have to work. Maybe the wife's a school teacher. If you have $72,000, you could replace the school teacher's income. So anyway, I said it all depends on your needs. You do this, or you do you, and I'll do me. These funds aren't for everybody, to be sure. Thanks for your comment, and thanks for watching my video. And then it turns out he wasn't trolling me. He said, hey, good point. He said, thanks a lot. That was a good reply or whatever. I think he was just trying to get a conversation started, and I really appreciated it. But I really appreciated it. He just said, well put. I don't know if I changed his mind. I'm not trying to, but I mean, I think he made his point, and his points were fair, but I think my points were fair too. So I like that interaction. And some other people agreed with me about the wealthiest guy in the cemetery thing. I mean, it really is about quality of life. Once you get to a certain amount of money, and I'm not saying I have that amount of money, or I'm not saying I don't have that amount of money, but once you get to a certain amount of money, and only you can decide for yourself what that is, the rest is, I mean, to me, it's about quality of life. I mean, to me, nothing's worth more than having extra time to spend with Jax, or extra time to spend with my son and daughter, or extra time to spend with my friends. I like to run. I've been injured the past year. I've had kind of a nagging injury, but I used to run between 5, and sometimes on weekends I would run 8 miles. I would run all the way across Austin. I lived in Northwest Austin, and I would run to Zilker Park. If you guys knew where that know Austin, it's a long way. It was like 7.8 miles or something. And then I would routinely run from my house to Lake Austin, to the dam at Lake Austin, and that was 5.8 miles or something. And I love that, but it takes a lot of time to have a hobby like that. That takes hours out of your day. I'm hopefully going to get back to that next spring. I'm really looking forward to that, but that's the kind of thing that having extra money from investment income can do for you. And this isn't the only way to get passive income. I mean, you can have rental property, or you can it's not passive income, but you can go drive Uber. That's not a bad idea. You can open a food truck if you like to cook, and go on game days and sell hot dogs, or not hot dogs, so you sell tacos if you're in Austin. But getting an extra source of income is always a great idea. Doesn't matter how you do it. These high yield funds are just one of many ways to create an extra source of income. So that's my speech on that tonight. Let me see. Let me read some other comments and see if we have anything else that we should cover. The reason I'm not picking on these commenters, but if one person asks me a comment, even if it is a little bit snarky or something, I get it. We had a big down day today, and a lot of people are hesitant about these funds, and that's fine. I get it. But what I'm saying is, if I have one person that's brave enough to ask me, there's 20 people that are thinking the same thing, but aren't asking me. So that's why I like to cover these comments. But here's another one that a lot of people think, or a lot of people believe, and this is this is fine to believe this. So this person said, what happens if they lose month over month? And I just said, well, then they lose month over month. There are no guarantees in life or investing. These funds make less than the underlying on the way up, but they outperform the underlying on the way down. Let's look and see if that's true. It's usually true, but it's not always true. It's true over time, but it's not true every day. But let's look. Today, for instance, JEPY lost 44 basis points, and the SPX lost 57 basis points. May not seem like a lot, but on a percentage basis, it's like 20%. And you do that over the course of a month or two, yeah, it adds up. One of these funds actually underperformed today. Yes, QQQY underperformed today. It lost 1.75, and the fund, or the NDX, the underlying lost 1.68. But generally, these outperform on the way down. Look, this IWMY was a big outperformer on the way down. That's about, what is that? That's 15 out of, that's like 25, 30%. That's a pretty big difference there. You know, and if you, I always make this example, and I'm sorry if you've heard it, but in 2020 during COVID, the broader market dropped about 40% at the worst point, top to bottom. NASDAQ was down 40, 42% or something. Well, the covered call funds that do the NASDAQ at the time was QYLD. It was off 30%. You know, I mean, that's a big difference. You know, it's a gigantic difference. You know, it's a huge buffer on the downside. And that's what people are missing about this. But yeah, it's not fun when these have losing days. I hate it. It's not fun, but you know, it's part of investing. If let's say you don't have this and you're like Doge Gamer, and you have all, you know, regular ETFs, that's fine. You know, the QQQ, whatever, they're all down whenever if the market goes down 3 months in a row, everything does bad, unless you have a tail risk fund or, you know. So all right, let's see what else is going on in the world of high yield funds. All right, what do you guys think about my new spreadsheets? I tried to make them a little prettier. And a person on not my Discord, but a person on Retire on Dividends Discord, a very nice person, shared some code with me that will pull all this stuff automatically. And a lot of these aggravations that you've seen me go through at night when I've done these sheets live, it'll solve a lot of those. I haven't incorporated into the new sheets yet, but I intend to soon. And I don't mind doing them manually. It's kind of a good way to learn, but it is kind of a grind. So I'm going to incorporate them soon. I'm trying to think if I have anything else to tell you guys about the new sheets. Let's look at stock index futures right now. Let's see if we're going to crater tomorrow. And of course, it's early, but let's see if it's already started cratering, is what I should say. All right, upper right, the top three on my watch list are the stock index futures, NASDAQ, S&P, and Russell. I even have Dow in there. I just don't look at the Dow Jones that much. That's, you know, that's your grandfather's, or that's my grandfather's index. When I started getting involved in this in the late 80s and early 90s, the best index to trade was the S&P 100. And then it switched to the S&P 500. It kind of became the gold standard of indexes. But then in the recent years, the gold standard of indexes has become the NDX, the NASDAQ. Nothing wrong with the Dow. Dow's awesome. I remember where I was the first time the Dow hit 10,000. It was like 96, I think, or 95. I was in wealth management at the time. It was a big deal. And what's it at now? 40,000 or something? I don't even know. I don't even follow it. Let's try to find the Dow. What's my Dow index? Let's see. I think the symbol is, what is the symbol? I really should know this. Oh, gee, is it really at 55,000? You've got to be kidding me. So it's 5x, or more than 5x since I was in wealth management. Golly. That's impressive. I thought it was just at 40 something or 30 something, but it just goes and goes. Somehow I think that's wrong. I thought the Dow was, I'm trying to think what Dow future symbols are. Let me see here. Yeah, Dow future symbols are YM. Yeah, okay, yeah. The Dow futures are at 37,990. Okay, well, that's still pretty good. That's a 4x since the 90s. That's not bad. That is not bad at all. But it's not up near as much as the NASDAQ because, like I said, the Dow is my grandfather's index. Those are old world stocks. That's comprised of like GE. They modify it over the years, and nowadays the Dow has, you know, it has, I think Amazon's in the Dow and a bunch of stuff, but it's mainly older world industrial stocks, and there's nothing wrong with them, you know, but GE hasn't had a great 20 years. I think it finally got dropped out of the Dow, but it was in the Dow forever, and it was a big reason, it was a big drag on its performance. But anyway, so stock index futures. Here we go. Here's the NASDAQ. We closed right here, this white, right there. We closed right there, 16,722, and now we're down like 15 points. You know, 9 bips. That's nothing. S&P is down 4 bips, and Russell is down 10 basis points. I love saying bips. I sound like such a, I don't really, but I picked that up from Jay at Jay Pestrichelli. He's always saying bips. Professional traders always say bips. Something else that professional traders always say, and I do like to say this, I think it sounds cool. They're talking about the NASDAQ right now, and see that change? It says 1475. It says negative 14.75. A pro trader, a pro futures trader is going to say that's 14 handles. Well, you know, what's NASDAQ at? We're down 15 handles. We're off 15 handles. I don't know how a handle became a point, but I think a handle is worth 1 point in futures. So ES would be off 2 handles. ES is S&P futures. Russell futures, you know, off a handle and a half. But yeah, handles and bips. That's what professional traders say. And I'm not trying to pretend I'm a professional trader. I was a professional in wealth management, but that was like 30 years ago, and a lot's changed. So I'm just sharing with you what I know. Hey, it's be a good time to say this. Not financial advice. You know, consult your own financial planner, your own wealth manager, when you make these decisions. Like I always say, the internet is a great place to research and to get questions to take to your financial planner. You could say, hey, Mr. Financial Planner, this guy, Max Convexity on the internet, is saying I need to get me some QQQY. Do you think that's a good idea? And your financial planner is going to know you, and he's going to know your situation, and he's, you know, and depending on you and your situation and your goals, he'll tell you yes or no. But there's no way I can know all that stuff. I'm just trying to show you, the whole reason I made this site is to show how these funds work and to analyze them. And to show people how they win. When you sell options, you win 2 out of 3 times, etc., etc. And speaking of selling options, I'm going to start a course, and I'm going to start from the beginning. It'll probably be later this week, and I'm going to start with buying calls and buying puts. And I'm going to assume that people know nothing about options, and I'm going to do a video first on buying calls and buying puts, and then I'll do another video on selling calls and selling puts. And these won't be quick videos. They'll probably be an hour long. They're going to have spreadsheets, and they're going to have graphics and all kinds of stuff. And then I'm finally going to do a video on buying and selling spreads, which is where you buy one option and sell another option, or some combination of bought options and sold options. And that's where it gets really interesting. But that's it. And then I'm also going to start a covered call course. I'll probably do that Friday, where we pick out a covered call, and we'll buy it on paper for the next week, and then we'll see how it does. And more than anything, I'm going to try to, whatever I'm teaching, then in the covered call course with the paper trading, I'm going to try to illustrate the points that I'm teaching, and I'm going to try to get people up to speed who aren't up to speed. Now, a lot of my subscribers know a lot about options. A lot of them know a lot more than I do. So those people definitely don't want to watch this. But hopefully I do other content that they'll like. But I really want to do some more option-specific trading content. All right, and my dog Jackson is going crazy right now. He finished his bully stick, and now he's pacing, and I think he may need to go outside. So I'm going to take him, and I'm going to let you guys go. Have a great evening, and I will talk to you in the morning. Thank you so much for listening. And, hey, thanks to all my commenters for those good questions. They give me good stuff to talk about on this show, and I really appreciate each and every one of you guys.